Clement City Redevelopment, November, or December 10, 24. First item on the agenda, roll call. Carl Seiler, that's me, I'm here. Samara?
Here.
Angela?
Here.
Thad? Here. Scott? Here. David?
Here.
Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Make a motion the minutes be approved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any changes, discussions, or that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item, they carry. Next item on the agenda is old business. The LM&L project is up on the top thing. It has been bored. There was no results that exceeded item specials. And so it has been submitted to IDEM. IDEM wanted it mapped out as far as to, a physical map showing that this borehole and this borehole and this borehole and what the final thing was of it. So anyway, that has been submitted, is my understanding. So it's in the game, is it's in IDEM's field now, and depending upon how quickly they might get it released. So anyway, that's.
Carl, do you realize you used the word quickly in that?
I know, I mean in government quick, that's probably, I know, that's an oxymoron. Okay, next item on the agenda is Jackson Line.
Yeah, we are working through some issues that have arose, but we are plugging forward. So I will give you, it is moving. I'll just say that. It is moving. There's just a lot of questions out there. Setbacks, utilities, trash. So yeah, we're working through stuff and we're moving forward though.
Okay. Okay, the 314 West Van Buren. Okay, we did receive the check. The check has cleared according to our legal counsel here, and the release of mortgage has been executed. I did call the dude yesterday and told him that it had cleared. I sent him a copy of the release of mortgage that you had sent me, and I sent him a copy off the GIS system that shows they own the thing. So now it's in their ballpark now. So, any further questions?
So it's his.
It's here. We're done with it.
Give the commission a B- on that project. No,
That should be an A+.
That should be an A+.
It was beyond our control. LML's been on this thing before I was on this.
Definitely an A+.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, what were you saying?
No, I think you guys get a solid B.
Okay,
Solid B.
it's done.
Again, a lot of things out of your control. A lot of
Like
things out
a
of your
humanities
control.
professor.
But you
I
handled
swear.
it and took care of the
You
needs.
are. What happened to me? You go over the sciences. Okay, next idea. Next on the agenda is landscaping, Radio Road 9. Any update?
Completed.
Completed.
Completed,
We
right?
finally finished something.
Completed.
How about that? Like we checked off 2 things in one meeting.
That's good.
That's an A+.
Completed.
Yeah, my mark for that.
Can you give the mayor a good review for me? Because I
You
got
got
my year-end review tomorrow.
What?
I'll write you a Yelp review.
Thank you.
I'll give you a Google review.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you.
All right, any other old business? Hearing none, shall go to new business. Does anybody have any new business other than what's showing? We will deal with y'all in a little bit.
I just would note, it does look like the plan is for the school to close on the Radio Road property prior to year end.
That's good.
Assuming we're still waiting on some environment.
I do have one question. Where do we stand with the RLF? Are we getting closer, or I've just had a couple businesses reach out, not pushing, but just 2 months, month, ballpark.
To have the application
Yeah.
complete, well, I was probably supposed to have that done last month.
Why?
Get it done.
Yeah,
Dave, you're talking
it
to
will be
me,
done,
so.
it will be done and reviewed by the January board.
Okay, that's completely fine. I've had a couple businesses ask, and so trying to direct them. So it's nothing on fire yet.
Yeah.
And if it is a rush,
Well,
it's my understanding that the EDC has.
I've
We
been
did,
directing them to that.
didn't we approve the application? So what are we?
Okay,
Yeah, we do that, but yeah.
I thought it was
The only
okay.
thing I was gonna do was try to create a common application where there would be attachments
Yeah.
for ours and then attachments if, whichever place they went, but I think we approved.
For sure we did too.
Yeah,
That's fine, yeah. But if the application is changing, so we're trying to figure out how to get people through to the new, to that process, if you will. If there's gonna be a new application, then I guess we can keep directing them through the old application, no?
well, we did we did approve a new application.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, because the old one just wasn't gonna work.
Right,
But there was one approved, and then the goal was then to rework that where there was a section that would apply
to both.
either place,
Yeah.
and then attachments for
Okay.
which program they were
Do
looking.
we have a copy of that new one?
I'll look.
Okay.
I can get it to you.
I was gonna say, I just wanna make sure whatever we need to have up on the website is what we have up on the website, so. Carl, do you want?
Okay, yeah, I'll tackle it if I go somewhere you don't want me to, yeah. Anyway.
I'll hit the buzzer.
Yeah, as we have talked before, there has been inquiries into us acquiring what was the Smith Towing property down. In their transaction, they had broken this transaction into multiple parts. And I think 3 of the 4 multiple parts have executed from their end. However, the transfer of ownership of the property has not, because after there was a phase 1 done, their financial agency wanted a phase 2, and a phase 2 cost about 20 grand. And they didn't really want to drop 20 grand into it. So that is on hold. As of right now, it is looking like that the acquisition, if it so happens, of the property will be directly between like RDC and Smith's. Okay, and to cover ourselves, we're going to have to execute a phase 1 and a phase 2 that are our own. We have had conferences with with legal counsel. We have had conferences with SME about this, and we'll probably eventually have to get an appraisal on the thing. But if our phase 1 and phase 2 comes back unfavorable to them, it's probably going to affect the appraised value of the property to the negative. Okay, so what?
So we have to do brand new phase one.
Phase one, we can't transfer, they can't, the other one was done for Blue Eagle.
Right. But we can't get a reliance letter.
No,
Okay,
no, not because of the way we're looking at acquiring this thing.
okay.
Okay, so we'll have to get a phase one, we're gonna have to get a phase two. I understand the phase one, maybe they're gonna give us access to their phase one. You held your finger up.
No, that was the crossing fingers.
Okay, I thought maybe you had new information there.
No, sorry.
Anyway, if we get that, we got a better idea of where, where we are coming into this for our own phase one. Yesterday, the phase that, it was discussed right on a conference call that we had. You can expect probably $20,000 for the phase two. My guess, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe $3,000 for the phase one.
Do we have to use a different company?
We probably should, because I think we're gonna probably want to keep the same company for the phase one and the phase two.
Sure.
So SME did not do their phase one.
Yeah, the phase two was never executed.
Yeah, so we'd like to
Right.
maybe stick with SME since they've already been there, done that kind of thing. Hope we get the group discount, but we'll see. So,
Well,
They give you like a
let's ask them for a quote on the phase one
Nah, I
and the
don't
phase
think
two.
that.
Yeah.
And that way, maybe they can talk to them and say, hey,
Yep,
we'd like to give you the business for, we'd like to use you for the phase two.
yep,
You give us a quote for both.
yep. We can do that.
Because if they did it, if we were able to do a reliance letter,
Yeah.
I mean, a couple $100 or something.
Well, I asked point blank Angela Kraholik from Ice Miller, specifically if there's a way to transfer that phase one to us or whatever the case is, and
Yeah, and that's not really what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying,
if they've already done
if
the
they
work.
could do it,
Yeah,
if we could do it,
yeah,
it would only cost us a couple $100 to do that. Why would they charge us $3,000 for
Yeah.
only phase one?
gotcha.
At that point in time, if they were gonna do that, I'd be inclined to go talk to SES or somebody and
Yeah.
say, hey, give us a new one.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember, did we decide that Blue Eagle had went with a different company?
You
Yeah.
think S and E
S and
instead of SME.
SM and E, I think.
Yeah,
is the
something
company,
like
because
that.
I looked them up because they were almost the same, it's like calling the lighter and silver.
So we'll look at some different options, David.
Yeah.
We'll look at some different options.
So, anyway, that's it. So, one way or the other, we're probably looking at expending somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000 to get these through and to get them, and to get them, to the point of where, we've got that and understand what kind of situation we are looking at on this property and whether to go ahead or scrap the idea of it at that point. And hopefully that should give a better idea of where for the appraisal people to come up with a valid appraisal. In the interest of trying to keep this thing moving, what I'm asking is, are you guys okay with covering, with redevelopment, paying the 20-some thousand bucks to do this, so we can keep it moving? Now, if there's any discussion, do it.
Because this property, we're gonna take over in conjunction with, I can't remember the guy's name who came in here from the.
Now, they're out of the picture on the property.
They're completely out there.
On the property, yeah.
You guys want me to show you kind of what we're doing?
Yeah, this is kind of a messy thing down here because the city light plant was down there.
So did they not take over that?
What apparently happened was they did a share purchase. They basically bought the shares
They act-
of the equity of Smith Towing. Before they did that, Smith Towing, apparently at their request, transferred that out into a different entity so that it would not be included in things owned by the entity.
They still occupying,
They're still.
They're occupying
they're-
on a lease, is what I understand, with that third-party equity. When I say third party, I'm not sure it's entirely a third party, arm's length, but it was excluded from that.
That's a-
real estate holding
Yeah,
company.
yes, yeah, Blue Eagle did not want that as part of the assets.
I don't think Blue Eagle wanted to site.
Running that off your flip
They
phone?
were just buying it.
Last time I tried to help you guys with anything.
He's doing up his Motorola Razr phone over there.
Oh,
Doesn't have consumer cellular?
But it does,
There
There we go, look at that.
It does present-
For you hard of seeing people.
but it
You know,
Thank you. Charged.
Again, that's the best I think I can do here. I'm not sure I can do much more than this. Anyway, so you'll see our properties right here. This is our property. We're gonna make it all messy here. And so you go up, so you have so this property here. Again, this is really bad. I should have done it differently, but it is what it is. So that property, which is where the Smith Brothers' actual building is, right there. There's a small little sliver right there. You can see that is owned by the city of Columbia City. No,
No, it's not.
it's owned by Smith's. I'm sorry. Then this property here that is owned by the city of Columbia City, which is I think Old Light Plant. And then you have one more property to the north of there that is owned by Smith Brothers. So we're actually talking about 4 different properties. And so as we're kind of looking through those areas, one of the questions I had asked Angela was about obviously insurance recovery purposes, because that's where we're heading. So for those that, well, I think all of you have been on, but just as a reminder, insurance recovery is they sue the past, what's it, CGL? Is that what it is? CGL policies, if you will, commercial general liability policies. And go after those policies from the past that basically covered the contamination, when the contamination happened on these properties, okay? That, by the way, can include the city's light plant contamination in the past as well. Okay, keep in mind that Smith Brothers, I think, Carl, what'd you say, that they've owned this only since the 90s?
20 is, I think since 12/31 of '01.
Of '01, okay? So, obviously, we believe contamination happened probably prior to that as well, right? And not just petroleum contamination, but other potential forms of contamination there. So I say all that just to say that the end goal of this thing is to ensure that we have a insurance recovery lawsuit, that we can get the money that we need, just like LML, to go and revitalize the property. And now we have a full L-shaped parcel. It's not just that one, but also has 1, 2, 3, 4 additional parcels along the river, by the way, that we can potentially do something with from a redevelopment standpoint. Problem is, that second part is not gonna be quick. It's not gonna be quick, right? Now, the last lawsuit was a little bit longer than what this lawsuit is probably going to be, because we had Don Stemmis from Ice Miller. He left and went and worked for the Pence administration for 4 years and then came back and finished our project. So we don't anticipate this to be a 6 or 7 year process. Hopefully it'll be much more truncated, but it is something that matters strongly for this redevelopment. Any questions?
No.
I think it makes sense that
Turn
we
off my flip phone.
move forward. with-
My gut feeling is the nastiest chunk of property in that's gonna be the chunk the city owns.
Yeah. Again, I come back to, there was a reason why Smith Brothers didn't take that piece of property from the city.
I know,
I don't know what that, I don't know. I'm not saying I know for sure. I'm just saying, my suspicion is there's a reason why there was never a property transfer of that piece of property, knowing that Smiths own north of it and south of it.
Yeah, and the north property was transferred from the city to Smithville. So
Yes.
Yeah.
along with the 2 tracks further north that's owned by the place that owns Star Tire, I think. Anyway, you know, and there was an electric plant there, which electric plants have transformers, which transformers are nasty as far as pollution. So, anyway, that's kind of what it is. If we're gonna go forward on this, I would like to be able to, you know, get this to move rather than wait month by month. And we do have the money somewhere in our stuff, so, and this is, you know, nobody's spoken unfavorably yet about this acquisition, so.
We're still trying to treat this somewhat sensitively because, you know, Smith Brothers still owns these properties. They have not been transferred to Blue Eagle. Blue Eagle is effectively running Smith Brothers Towing now because they've acquired the actual, I think the assets minus the building, I think, as well as the actual business itself. But we're still going to need to work with Ken to acquire these properties.
I think they acquired the right to use.
And Ken's been great to work with up to this point, just to be clear.
But not
So,
And there's
necessarily.
problems. It should be favorable to.
I would assume.
Asking.
Well, I would assume, but, you know, I don't know.
Part of
I don't
it
know
was
what,
asset because they
I don't know what's
purchased
being
fit,
thought of
you
on
know,
that
the
side, so
towing
I can only know what's our side.
equipment. And I think they purchased the heavy recovery equipment, the light recovery equipment, and they used the name. But they did not acquire, I think the company with the is Smith Brothers Standard, Inc. Is the company that I believe is who, you know, officially, that's what they operated under. So, anyway.
So you're looking for a motion?
So I'm looking for a motion, yes.
I move that we move forward with the phase 1, phase 2.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any, no? Great, carried unanimous.
My gut tells me you probably have money in that TIF district that you can.
Yeah, we do.
Railroad TIF is probably the best place.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him, yeah, it's a good spot for him there. Okay, any other new business that anybody has? Not hearing that, do you guys have something that you would like to discuss or present?
I don't think they came here just to watch.
Dude.
They thought there was free lunch.
They promised me you guys would have pizza today. Maybe just pass those.
Yeah.
Pass them around.
You need one?
Sorry, I tried to just give us, these are, I'm gonna talk about a few of these things, but I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of information to look at. So, I think all of you know who I am at this point because I show up every year around this time and talk about Columbia City Connect, but ultimately I'm still the board president of Columbia City Connect, our downtown Main Street organization here in Columbia City. With me today is our executive director, Nikki Keister, who you probably all know, and our new hire, Abby Carter, who's now our communication director. Is that the title? Marketing communication director. So we're really excited to have added Abby to the team. She's a realtor with her other hat, and so she brings a real wealth of social media and marketing experience to the team that we're really excited about. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things in there and then kind of let you know a little bit about what we've been doing this year. Ultimately, spring of this year, I think, we approached the Community Foundation about helping us basically redo our website and get funds to be able to hire another member of the team. multiple goals related to that, one of which is ultimately we can become a national main street if we have a full-time equivalent employee, which, Nikki is not looking for a full-time job, and we needed to diversify the team a little bit anyway, and so ultimately bringing on another part-time person makes that full-time equivalent, so now we have all the boxes checked. Ultimately, we could be a national main street organization, which is the goal of this organization. That hopefully opens up, as we've been promised, a bunch of additional funding opportunities that ultimately will bring hopefully lots of grant dollars to downtown Columbia City to help us continue to do the mission that we're trying to accomplish. So this spring we went to the Community Foundation and asked the Community Foundation for a $10,000 grant to help support that. The Community Foundation thankfully awarded that request but made us match it by raising $10,000 from non-governmental places, I guess is the best way to describe it. And so, and it had to be new money. And so from I think it was May when the Community Foundation gave us that grant until recently when we closed that gap, happy to report that ultimately we matched it. And ultimately now we're going to get the $10,000 from the Community Foundation. We raised the $10,000 privately. We're here today to ask the Redevelopment Commission to potentially make that gift not only a match, but a triple or a third, I don't know what you would call it, a triple, I guess, instead of doubling it. A triple, yeah, there we go, okay. And also, using the grading system you guys were talking about earlier, to give the Redevelopment Commission an A+. So, not a B-, but an A+. Give it, yeah, right? So,
You a lot better than mayor.
I know, right? So
Start with a B-. I bumped into a B, just don't you forget that.
So as you guys remember, we've come, I think, pretty much every year in the fall, and it's usually me. I've been involved with this organization since, I think Mayor Fleck even was here. It's been a long time. Ultimately, it's been a passion of mine. As a downtown business owner, a downtown property owner, it's important to me, and I think that, as you'll see on the first page, this is just kind of, and it's really a nutshell. It's not everything, but this is a lot of the things that we accomplished this year. First Fridays obviously are the things that we're most known for, and those are prevalent obviously on the sheet. But a lot of the things that we've done this year are new programs, new things that we brought to the table. All those things have been growing rapidly with the help of Abby promoting them. And that second page kind of demonstrates that. In conjunction with hiring Abby, we also hired an incredible web developer to do a new website this year that we launched in August, February, September. And this chart on the second page really shows the exponential growth we're already seeing in that. That website has a lot of incredible features that are really, I think, adding a lot of value to the city and to the community members because it's driving traffic to events that are related to the city. As an example, when people looked for where the trick-or-treating was this year for Columbia City Connect's calendar of events was the top search that came up in that. Because that calendar of events that we're now using to take everything that everybody in the community is doing and putting in one central location is making a more cohesive message and also, I think, creating, that commonality that we're trying to create in our community. So anyway, this kind of gives you, these little marking points are, I think, the first Thursday of every month, something like that, approximately. Yeah. And so Nikki just was trying to come up with an arbitrary date. The spikes are typically the first Friday event because our first Fridays drive a lot of traffic. But as time goes on, it's just increasing over and over time. A couple other things that are in here. I just grabbed a couple of, we've been in the paper a lot this year. We feel like, honestly, the Post-and-Mail is relying us to write the front page of the Post-and-Mail every other week. And I'm not kidding. Literally, they call Nikki and say, hey, what do you got for us this week? We need something to put on the front page. And literally, that message and the branding that's coming along with that is really driving a lot of kind of the energy that we're building. I just put a sampling of those in there. You'll see the bottom of the first page has they actually did a really cool launch of our website, a bunch of First Fridays related things. Second page is just, really, this is our executive director report, but there's a lot of things on here that are important. One of the things that we spent money on this year that was, and I'm sure you guys have all seen them, we wanted to build, the First Fridays and these events bring people downtown, but they don't always get people into the businesses. And so, excuse me. So, we heard from our downtown business owners, hey, these are great, but can you help us more? So Nikki came up with the great idea of doing these open signs, and you can see, I don't know, a lot of you probably know who Shelby Longaball is, but Shelby's posing with one of the pictures because I made her. Anyway, you'll see them all over downtown. We actually bought those. Columbia City Connect bought those for all the downtown business owners. We bought extras so that we can give them to new businesses. The idea was they were going to put those out ultimately when we had events, which is 6-7 times a year, but they quickly realized that they were driving traffic to their businesses. I know Chip could talk about this, but Chip from some businesses was getting food and beverage tax chatter in his ear, and now he's hearing flags are driving. It's changed that perspective a little bit, I think. And which just really kind of highlights the partnership ultimately that I think Columbia City Connect has with Redevelopment Commission and also with the city. So anyway, the downtown business owners all reporting that those are really helping drive the business. The First Friday events is this little thing. We canceled our event in August this year because really scary weather that ultimately ended up not being as scary as we thought it was going to be, but the emergency response said, hey, you should probably cancel. But even in spite of that, our estimated attendance for First Fridays this year was in excess of 12,000 people. We smashed all our previous records for vendors, participation, all of those things. And then the other thing that's at the very back is this is a project we're working on right now that we haven't finalized yet, but Chip told me actually when I walked in that the post got delivered today. That's this thing. This is actually, these are from downtown Noblesville. We are actually, Columbia City Connect is buying, building, and doing all of this, but these signs, which we're buying 2 of them, we're having a local welder craft them for us. We bought the signs from somewhere in Alabama, I think. And then the box is being built with somebody here locally. And we're going to use these in Thomas Marshall Plaza and Oakey Alley. And they're going to have a list of all the downtown events. So kind of like this, but in a really catchy way that these two magically make things eye-catching that I don't understand how they do it. But ultimately, those of you that are marketing people understand. Similar to what you see in the Noblesville one. And then on the other side, it's going to be a 2-sided signage. On the back side, we'll have a downtown map with all of the businesses that are in our downtown, where they're at. So hopefully somebody comes for First Fridays and they don't have time to go to Vintage Blessed, but they notice it, they've heard of it before, they make a mental note of it, or they scan the QR code that'll be on here, have a downtown map. Ultimately, these are costing us about $3,500 that we're using our own funds for. The wavy flags that you're seeing downtown were around $4,500. Again, we used our funds and/or the funds we made from private donations to pay for those. The funds that we got from the Community Foundation are specifically supporting Abby and the website development, which was, how much did we pay for the website? Like $2,000? Around $2,000. Which, if you have not looked at our website, please check it out. It's incredible. It is, honestly, we've had, I think, 3 or 4 organizations have already called us to say, hey, who did that for you? We want to do the same. I know he's already getting tons of business as a result of it. So anyway, that's our report. Ultimately, we would just like to have support every year from the Redevelopment Commission. It would be awesome if we took the money that we got from the Community Foundation and private donations, and we could tell in our annual report that we're working on right now that Redevelopment Commission supported us in the same way. Understand you guys have other things ultimately that you're spending your money on and that are important and that ultimately hopefully we can collaborate with you on, but I'll take any questions or if you guys have anything to add. We are also kind of working on a couple of projects with the mayor. that, that Main Street organization tells us, we really need to be working on, that have to do with some of the stuff you guys are working on, some historic preservation ordinances. We're working very closely with Chip on the DORA to see when and if we can get that done, and collaborating pretty strongly on that, all of which are really downtown-focused projects. So anyway, questions?
What is your request financially today?
Well, the request is $10,000. But ultimately, understand that if we got your support for, the flags, the signage, those are in the $7,500 range. The support ultimately from, and I don't, as a result, Greg will have to give you advice as to where you have money and what you can use that for and what's appropriate or not. The signage, I think, definitely would be TIF related, I would think. The support for the position of the marketing director, so that we have the money today for Abby to work there for the next year, but we want to make that sustainable because we think it's important and she's doing an amazing job. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And then, so the funds, is this something you're wanting, like monthly or quarterly, or just one lump sum, or just curious, or you'll just be happy to?
Anyway, ultimately, just in full disclosure, the mayor through the city does support Columbia City Connect as well. We have an MOU with the mayor, and there's a checklist of things that we're supposed to do, one of which is to report to him and to the Redevelopment Commission. Nikki and I and the team collaborate on that, but whenever we've had projects like the bike racks, I think was a good example, other projects where we were really just directly doing something downtown, we've come and asked Redevelopment Commission for financial support, and so we thought we would again do that.
I think you guys are doing a great job.
It is our intent this next year to really do the same with the county. I feel very strongly that just because the county owns the big piece of real estate right in the middle of our city, that they also, Columbia City is the kind of the heartbeat of the community. And so we're hoping the county will also, probably not Redevelopment Commission, but the commissioners potentially will use some of those pools of money that they get to give us some support, because all this stuff kind of interrelates and feeds each other. So
Every person that the city adds population-wise adds to their tax base as well. I think it needs to continually be reminded that the city's growth equals the county's growth, or at least the counterbalancing of the county's population losses, which is what happened in the last census. Every taxpayer in Columbia City is a county taxpayer.
Yep. And people move to this community for the quality of life things that we're trying to deliver, which supports all our employers, which, again, brings more people ultimately to move here. One of the things, and this is kind of a funny story, but one of the things we really discovered this year at First Fridays is that we didn't recognize as many of the people as we thought we used to, and so we started talking to people and realized that people from Warsaw a lot, and a lot of people from Fort Wayne actually come to our First Fridays event because they like the smallness of it, they like the small town feel of it, they like it better than Warsaw's. We competed them out of the game and they moved it, now they're like third Thursdays or something because they couldn't compete with us anymore. And so those are all, signs of success that are hard to brag about because, but they're important, I think, so. I don't know, do you guys have anything to add?
You did great.
Excellent job.
That's why I get to go.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the spending plan, I think that amount would fit into those as well, since only what pool would you take it out of, which it probably makes the most sense to take it out of the downtown tip, if that's,
Yeah, we could just take it out of that business and professional, whatever thing we got to do.
Your
well,
tax- your
and
tax
on this, like I said.
fund.
Was
No,
that?
I was saying, Carl was saying the business and whatever fund, which is your tax fund, that's what you get.
Yeah.
That's the general fund taxes you get from.
Yeah, that's this year we
asked for, on our spending plan that we had just filed with the state, we had put 10,000 in for marketing / business attraction. We had put public space improvements, 30,000. These are not monies we actually have, but there's a new requirement.
They're big up figures.
There's a new requirement.
We need
You
to buy a lot.
have to make like a Santa list, a
Of what?
Christmas list of what you might do.
And we would like it to make it very easy for you to meet those requirements.
Yes.
Get you an A+.
Check that one.
But this also says grants and contributions, and we have $6,000 to local economic development organization or similar organizations, and we also have a separate 5,000 to contributions for local nonprofit.
Well, it sounds like I should have asked for more, so.
So, again, Matt, we don't have these monies.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
We were told that you don't want to exceed those in any, so I was just double checking to make sure we weren't exceeding, I think we can do that.
We could give you all the pretend.
You want our map?
Motion
Yeah, I'll
for
take the Walmart
10,000,
buy
raise the money. 100,000 and pretend.
That's not a good thing about it.
No,
I heard mentioned.
But you would be, your preference would be that this isn't earmarked specifically so much as it's given in a lump sum, and you guys can discretionarily spend it on the improvements out there, flags, salary.
That would be the best, honestly, because it
That'd
just
get us-
gives us
that'd
more
get an A+
flexibility, and we're a
minimum.
small organization and not having earmarked funds but you know, the community foundation really kind of gave us that as a condition, and I mean, it's easy to do because we have somebody who but
Well, that was specifically.
that was what we asked to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, well, that's true.
In this case, it's more general.
It's more general. It's more general, but ultimately, what the funds will likely be used for is really the first, is paying for these signs that were, you know, well, we put them on the credit card, so, you know, paying the bill for the credit card for the signs, paying the vendor who's building them, probably be the first two expenditures. And then, you know, we're at the point now where we have, we've built the financial stability of the organization up to a level that it's like a real big boy, not big boy, but it's not, you know. So, you know, and by doing that, we keep having to deliver all these things that we're doing. The goal is this team, and I promised Nikki I would stay as long as she stays. So this team's going to be your team for a while, and we want to start we're actually going up to Kendallville, the whole board almost, for a Main Street event. I don't know if you guys know, but Kendallville 2 years ago, I think, got $1 million+ from Okra to do a huge downtown revitalization plan. We're gonna hopefully go up there Friday and figure out how they did that and try and, we applied for it, we didn't get it, but we're gonna go steal all the secrets on Friday.
Good, smart.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the goal, is we want to, there's, you know, I could talk about this stuff a lot, but, you know, we did some seminars last year about revitalizing buildings, and we had one person come to these meetings. But since then, she's bought and revitalized 3 buildings that are, 2 of which are still ongoing. I don't want to take necessarily credit for that, but ultimately, I think she was on that path already. But you know, all those little things add up, obviously, so.
If I'm looking at spending plan, that's actually the spending plan for 2025. We are still in 2025.
Yeah, well, we don't have, we can okay it now to be executed in January.
It's perfectly
And
fine.
then we'll move it from there.
That's why I came now. This is when we usually try to come.
This way, you know, after the first of the year, it can go.
It could go sooner. What I was saying is it's probably not subject to the limitations of the plan
Well, yeah.
if it's done this year.
Now, that's-
Oh, yeah, because that's for,
This is for 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, you can do whatever, you can do what you want.
Yeah,
Yep.
we don't have to worry about that right now.
No.
All right, does anybody have any input that they want to make?
I think that what Matt, Nikki, and Abby are doing is phenomenal. I mean, I can tell just, you know, being out and about in the community and seeing it and hearing what people are saying, I think it's outstanding, so.
I did go through your website, and it is much improved. So,
Yeah, it's really driving a lot of traffic, so.
Yeah, I got there accidentally even, so.
Probably because you were looking where you could go trick or treating, right?
I was looking for something in Warsaw and landed on your.
Even better.
Landed on your page.
Even better.
Yeah.
Where's the coolest first Fridays around? And you got
Yeah,
thinking you were going to Warsaw.
Anyway, that was, that was it. So, anyway, does somebody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 10,000.
Okay, does somebody want a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, is is it payable this year or next?
Unrestricted.
Well,
Do you want any restrictions or just to give it to them unrestricted, so they can do it with whatever? That would be their preference.
Unrestricted.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
It's, yeah, okay, do you want it to execute this year or next year?
Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
Well, it does for our spending plan, yes.
I mean, if he comes back next year and makes a similar ask, then we have these
money for
limitations.
next year, yes.
and
So
so.
we might as well do it for
For
this
this
year.
year,
Yes,
for
yes, that's-
2024.
that's-
Unrestricted
Yeah.
2024.
Yes.
Do you want to add that to your motion?
Get into the motion of unrestricted in 2024, please.
Yes. And-
Second.
Second. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, carried, unanimous.
Thank you very much. We'll be back in 2025.
No, you'll be back next year.
We'll be back in January.
One other, in how our money's getting spent, just to update you on stuff. We were contributing a chunk of money to this study for the jail. And anyway, the company did, the A&E company did create draft one, which was reviewed with us, and they were sent back to the drawing board. They kicked out, I think yesterday it was, wasn't that? They kicked out options 2 and options 3. I don't know if they're public releasable yet, but so they are accomplishing something, and one of the options to me looked pretty good. The other one,
Did you
not one
see-
of them didn't look too good.
Carl, did you see the Samara's ideas that I forwarded to you? Not yet?
They
Okay.
don't look as pretty as your professionally done
So,
blueprints.
so redevelopment commission, Carl and Samara sat in on your behalf to this jail meeting, let's say it that way. And I think gave very valuable information and concepts and conversation. We're still massaging those things and figuring out exactly what the right mix is within that building. Obviously, we know there's a need for the police department, but we want this to be, if we can find a way to make it at least pseudo self-sustaining with private business in some way, shape, or form as a part of it, that would be valuable to the sustainability of the building. So it's not another drain on city funds and resources, if you will. So we're working through all those things, trying to meet some city needs, as well as some public needs and some potential private business needs as well. Trying to find a space that is welcoming, accessible, and creates a good environment, if you will, in that building that I think the public can be really happy with. So we're working through those things.
So, anyway, that's the result of some of our expenditure. Does anyone else have anything that they want to bring up? Hearing none, all in favor, adjourn, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Later, people. You're the one that probably went around.
Arts Commission is supposed to be reporting